Welcome everyone to Bloomerangas podcast. I'm very excited today to introduce you to Thierry Brunfaut, a creative director and founding partner of Base Design. Base Design is a global design agency with offices in Brussels, New York, Geneva, and Melbourne, and it is known for creating bold and distinctive brands for clients like MoMA, Louis Vuitton Foundation, Théâtre du Châtelet, and one of the things that Thierry is known for is to advocate his approach for simplicity in design and his philosophy for don't design for designers, design for people. And beyond the studio, Thierry teaches, speaks at conferences worldwide, and champions design that dares to stand out in the world of increasing blending. So I really love this concept of blending. I saw that also being featured in your 5-minute design poster series. So would you mind expanding a little bit on that, what that means for you? And these days, especially, like it was said in one of your posters, like tech brands do take this approach a lot. So would you mind sharing your point of view on that?
Sure. I think I came up with this a long time ago already, but more than 10 years ago. And I wrote an article with a friend, copywriter, Tom Greenwood, about this phenomenon of branding that was really starting at that point. And it was really, suddenly we were seeing many brands looking alike, looking the same. And so this was also a very big moment in tech where you would see this rise of these entrepreneurs. Everyone wanted to have his own brand, his own app, and everything was looking the same. And I kind of analyzed the thing, and I think three elements popped to my mind. The first thing was obviously the fact that everybody was checking the same references. So that was a first thing. We're all on Pinterest, all designers looking at the same things. So no matter where you were like in South America, in Europe, or in the States, people are starting to look at the same things in real time. So that was one of the first elements. The second thing is, actually, I would say it was a bit like teenagers. You know, teenagers, they want to be part of a group, so they all dress the same.
Yes.
So it was kind of all these young brands being teenagers, and they wanted to look the same. So there was kind of this teenager effect, and finally, obviously, there was like the rise of this major tech brand, like of course Apple. I mean, it was not the rise, like the ring, like being everywhere, like the Googles and the Apple, and it was kind of the big reference. But the difference between a young tech brand and a Google is like Google is way beyond the brand, is in everybody's life, and it was kind of becoming a reference. So anything what these big brands would do, well, all these younger small brands would copy. And I think it was interesting to see that this phenomenon was not limited to tech. It was then spreading across 360 across the board. So even obviously luxury brand or any brand, like we're starting to follow up on that trend. And for me, I mean, I'm more from the oldest generation, and it was like for us and for me, branding is mainly about, of course, you're proposing services or products, and you need to be clear about that. But most of all, you have to differentiate. You cannot look at other, because you need to differentiate. So this phenomenon of blending, and I was surprised when I wrote this article, because it went crazy. I mean, this word that Tom invented for the thing became like kind of used a lot. So it was obviously touching the heart of designers. Like, what are we doing, right? What are we producing and creating right now? Is that accurate or not? And more than 10 years later, it's still there, and it's still a big question. And I think a big question also because we don't want to look like other people as individuals. So I think it's still a big question, and with the rise of AI, it will become even more a very interesting question for the future also.
Exactly. So when you're working with brands, right, how are you approaching, let's say, any project to kind of move clients towards more authenticity and individuality rather than copy pasting, right, from what's out there?
There's a big, it's difficult. I'm not saying we're at base achieving not falling to blending. I think it's difficult because people are looking at things, and I think a client most of the time wants to be reassured. So you need to build a setup where this is what we try to do at base, is to build an environment where we will be able to create differently. So the belief we have at base is that no matter what person, organization or brand is unique. So we will try to define with them through different workshops, different sessions, what they have, what is their difference, and how we're going to express that. That's a mission statement at base, actually, is how to look for the uniqueness in each one of us. Whether it's an individual or a designer inside a company or a client outside a company. So it's tough because most clients have fears, and that's totally normal. And so we try to build since the very beginning an environment where there's no nonsense, where we can be very sincere with each other. It's something that I say very early to the client. Well, this is the kind of relationship I propose. If I feel uncomfortable and you are too, please tell me. We need to be very open on how we're going to do this. We need to be transparent and candid in this. If I don't believe you, if I feel the bullshit, I will tell you. So this kind of you have to set this up very early in the process, and sometimes it's difficult. It's way easier when you're talking to the founder or to the people that decides. I think that's a key element for all designers. If you don't create and discuss with the person that can say yes or no, that can take the decision in full autonomy, it's gonna be hard to get to the best solution. And that's a problem with big corporation or big companies. You have a layer of hierarchy, and people are afraid from their bosses, and they're not thinking in their head, they're thinking in each other's heads, and that's the way to problems. So so it's not always possible, but in some moments you can get there, and the quality of the relationship will make the quality work.
Wonderful. So it's a little bit like therapy, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is not a little bit. It is full-on therapy.
Yes, and at the end there is a result being produced that is almost like a mirror for the client, isn't it?
It is that, and we are telling them that, and you get sometimes to very difficult moments also on the side of the client. You can have like also really asking difficult questions. For example, if you're working with a brand where there's kind of a moment of change of generation, and you would have like fathers or old generation and younger generation in the same room, and you would ask exactly the question that is difficult for them. Sometimes it can lead to conflict between them, and so sometimes it can be personal therapy, sometimes it is family therapy, sometimes it's company therapy.
Organizational therapy.
But it's the only path to get to good design and to good solutions. We have to go there. We have to ask those questions. And we do that with in workshop. We have fantastic people at base. We have this philosophy of being very transparent and human, but also very bold. We don't chicken out when it's difficult. We have to go. We don't want to please them.
Right.
We of course want them to be happy at the end of it with tangible result. But if it's hard, we have to go there. We have to dig there. And sometimes it leads to beautiful moments, and sometimes the client also recognized that later, said it was hard, but it was needed, so it's good.
Yes, very sensitive, right? Sometimes those questions lead to very sensitive parts where clients, they don't want to touch that.
Yes.
Right. So it sounds like you're very much advocating this all risk-taking approach, right? Because not everybody would dare to go as deep and kind of open me your heart so is that also kind of the way the base design operates in general?
Yes,
highly entrepreneurial?
I think the question of risk is central, and you cannot ask everyone in every company. You cannot force them. So sometimes you feel there is a line, there's a limit, and you feel that pretty early in the process. You feel that, okay, with this client, with this job, we can go up to 5 on 10 or 6 on 10, but not up to an 8 or a 9, because there's no possibility. You can feel it. When you feel you can go to an 8 or a 9, then you go full on. I mean, and that's really interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yes, because I mean, with some clients, it's just not possible, and you don't have to force people to just put everything upside down in their life if they don't want to. So so that's also we have to be respectful of that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
You can go with the client as far as they allow you to go with them, right?
Yes, but for that, you also, that's why this, for me, for example, the very first meeting is extremely important, because this is where you set up the rules of the game. So I love to explain in that first meeting how we operate, what I expect from them. For example, I never say that at their service. I'm not servicing. I'm partnering. So it's also, I'm setting up all the rules, and we all do that in all bases. All my partners, people, strategists are doing that, to just setting up the right rules and see, are we agreeing we're going to play this game together? And some of them you can feel are not totally ready for it, or don't want to. And sometimes it can lead to, you know what, we're not going to take this job, because you feel that it's blocked, or you have to adapt to that and say, okay, with this client we're going to go up to this point, but maybe it's not possible to go further at this point. So it's very important to align on that. It's something that you acquire also with experience. When I was younger, it was like way more, but this client is stupid, and that is being stupid. That is being stupid. So, the big game, it's always fun to see designers talking. When you meet other designers and they meet for a drink, they would say, oh, my client is so dumb. My clients are terrible. And I did a poster about that. And the fact that it's a game between us, No, my client is worse than yours and everything. But actually, no. You have the client that you deserve.
Yes, very much so.
That's so basically, if you have terrible clients, just look at yourself. Maybe you're a terrible designer. You deserve that. So what can you do to just get a better client, or better clients, or better relationship? And I learned a lot through years on how to do that better. It's a long process.
It sounds very much familiar. I can resonate with all of this. Yes, we kind of edge out our sharpness over the years, and we become more humble with clients and accepting our own faults. So.
Oh yeah, we're not perfect, that's for sure.
No. I love the way you highlighted that kind of accepting, how far you can go with a client, and accepting that that's kind of the barometer for the relationship. Because similarly, in my young days, I used to be very frustrated that the client is not going at their max. But their max is different from our max. That's the thing. That's the difference.
And also, you need to really also think about when you work for the client. Are you working for yourself, or are you working for the client?
Exactly.
And when you're young, you want to use the client question to do what you want, which is not the right
it's not
thing
the right
either.
way.
so that's why the setup of the quality relationship is so crucial from the first minute. you need to have that in mind. So, for example, I spend way more time, and we're spending way more time before taking on a client, asking all the questions. For example, what we do in our company is that it's not like a partner at base or a business developer that would decide, oh, this client is great, we take it, I take decision. No, what we do is that we have a meeting where we bring on the new possible client on the table, and the one that brings the client have to explain not the client's brief, but our brief versus this client. I think we should take this client for XYZ reason. I had a meeting, I was questioned about framework, budgets, objectives, and everything. And we tend to go in the discussion to unanimity in the room, to just make sure that we all agree this is a good decision. And sometimes I bring client to the table and say, oh, we should take this client for XYZ reason. And someone in the room would say, you didn't convince me so much. I would like to ask you a question about this, about that, and about that. Come back in a week, and then we'll discuss again to be sure that we all agreeing that this is a client we're going to take. I think it's important, because otherwise, if one of us is bringing a client and then it's a mess 4 months later, you say, it's your fault. No. We decide all together. That's also. I think it's a good process.
Love that, because you end up spending so much time working on the project, and it really needs to be a match, right? So that it can be a fruitful result that everyone is proud of. So love that. But of course, these sort of things come only with years of experience, that you know how to sort of what works for you, what kind of client relationship works when the results are the best, right?
Yes.
Right. So when you're working with clients, right, you mentioned that clients are full of fears, just like everyone, right? All of us have. How do you help them to overcome or identify those fears, right? And to overcome them during those initial phases before working?
Sometimes I simply tell them that it is normal to fear. First of all, I think I'm telling them, I totally understand. This is a budget. This is a moment of change, and you have a hard time to visualize where we're going. So, and also, you have a hard time to be sure that it's a good decision, that this change is a good decision, that this change with us, base, is a good decision versus maybe another company. So, I spend a lot of time. We do spend a lot of time explaining what is going to be, how we're going to do it. And it is one thing that I love to do also is to say, you know what, this is the first phase. This is how we're going to do it. Usually it starts with these sessions about intake and strategy, and I always like to say, if after this first phase you don't feel at ease, please leave. Please don't continue with us. You don't have to sign for the whole thing because you don't know us. So you need to be at ease. And this is, for example, it's very reassuring for them. Oh, okay, if I'm not happy, I can leave after first phase. Yes, you can. And of course, I don't want them to leave. I want them to continue. But it's a good way for them to relieve a bit of the stress of signing in the unknown, So that we can do. We can also, and of course, we explain everything. We also show similar references that we did, of course. And the best thing, obviously, is for them also to maybe talk to people that worked with us before. So we got a lot of work to referrals. So our best ambassadors are our clients. So they talk to other people and say, you should work with base. They work like this. And some of my clients, I remember, were even inviting me to meet one of their friends or people they know. And they were selling my company way better than I would do because they were in the process. So that's also very interesting, not trying to sell yourself your company, but having other people explaining how was it to work with us.
Right. Wonderful. It's definitely the best advocacy.
Sure.
How do you resolve situations when clients very much sometimes clients get so obsessive about their competition and kind of observing the market, and of course you need to do that. You don't work in isolation, but sometimes I notice that they're very kind of more like in this Me Too mindset. Oh, they're doing, so I'm going to be doing that, right? But that's not always the best for the brand. So what is your take on that when working with clients, and how do you help them to take competition into account, but still dare to do your way?
That's a big part of the work of our strategists. And in that sense, what is very interesting, we're hiring strategists. Some of them were not strategists before. Some of them are journalists, or some people that work in movies, it's a lot creative. About, of course, we will analyze the competition. You have to understand, because of course if you do packaging and you say we're going to be in stores and we're going to be next to these guys, we need to understand. But I think it's pretty convincing to say that giving examples on playing on their difference, playing on their uniqueness is the only way to go. So we're building also that narrative, and also that's where at base what is extremely important beyond design is the importance of storytelling. No matter not the storytelling that is only the text that we're going to put on the website. It's storytelling of what is the brand is telling, whether it's packaging, and in that sense, we spend a lot of time, for example, since day one with our strategists. For example, the way we're going to do the initial presentations is already with special tone, special writing, a special story. It's not like a clean-cut strategy, super cold, we analyzed everything, and therefore that. Immediately at base, the strategists will use a different. It's not the same if you work for a beauty skincare company or if you're working in hardcore corporate. You need to adapt to the tone. So you adapt that very early in the process. You very early with building a story on how we're going to do that. And so the strength of a story is insane. So everybody likes a good story. So if you get to them with a good story, which is a mix of obviously text, images, animation, whatever it would be, then they understand it. Just this is the thing I'm going to tell to the world, and then it's my story, and then it becomes like way easier for them to jump on. I hate when strategies. So the bespoke aspect of, if you want to get to uniqueness, you have to start early in the process. It's not only the design that needs to look unique, it's how you build the whole thing since day one, on how you interact with your clients. And so even the typeface you're going to use to write the strategy can be different. I hate strategies that are these like, only rational. Because of course there's a rational part. Of course there is. But you need to mix that rational with something that's already bespoke, custom made for that client, with a specific tone, a specific approach. So sometimes for some clients, even the strategy can be almost poetry or something like way more already creative, and to just induce that the fact the story is going to be theirs and it's going to be different. So there's a lot of work on that. We also put the strategist with designers very early, or even digital designers, to already make sure that this is the path we're going to take. So that's why what we call the roundtable approach since day one is very important. I hate also what is sometimes happening in some agencies is you have the strategists working on strategy, so it's a framework, it's very rational, and then they hand over to the designer and say, this is the strategy, give it no shape. I hate that. I think it has to be totally fluid between all different phases.
Yes, then, because in a way you're creating a brand language, right? So exactly. All of these components need to merge.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So how long does it take for new people? Because I imagine that base design is also like this island, right? Where it's a different approach, and then people who come from other places, they need to adapt, right? To kind of get infused with this DNA.
Yeah.
How long does it usually take for new people to kind of fully be base designers?
Yeah, I think first of all, what is very important to understand in our organization is that, of course, there's this DNA that was built with years, and it started with the old dudes and people, the beginning, the partners, but it is also enriched with every new people, every new generation. I'm amazed on how the DNA is today transmitted by, not by me or by the Dimitri or the founders, but even by the people working at base. We managed to create that.
Wonderful.
And it amazes me because it's just people talking to people. And what you need to understand is that each space is autonomous. Each space is its own studio. They can take their own decisions. They can take the client they want to take, obviously within ethical framework that we've set up. But that's the first thing. So it's very important, and it's great that the Geneva studio can do the things the way they want, and same in New York, same in Brussels, Melbourne, voila. So that's the first thing. Yet there is something transversal going on, and so that's why we have also transversal task forces. I'm leading comms, Jeff is leading business development, Min is leading creative horizontal task force. So they communicate. So obviously we're using Slack like everyone, but the Slack is international. So you can ask questions to people. I'm in this thing now. I would like to see, did anyone work on this? Can we do a call? So you have at your disposal all the resources of the group at any moment. So,
wonderful.
So you have that. Sometimes we do also swap or crossover, or people going from one studio to another for a week or two. So sometimes we do that. Sometimes also, so they can exchange. Sometimes also, when we have big international clients, we can put people together. So we did that with Brussels and New York for a job, and that's fantastic for them. Or even they move and they go to work in New York for a week. So that's also fun, of course, for designers. So we entertain this dialogue all the time between the different offices. The key is how you make a company that is a learning place. And I was obsessed with that for a long time. I'm still in. It is. If you're not creating an environment where you can learn and where you can learn from other people, the quality of your work will decline. So it's really about fostering that. We also have once a year we have a global exco when we have all directors of strategy, design, digital, gathering in one place for a week, and it's super well organized. It's always hosted by one of the studios, so it's a lot of fun, a lot of eating and drinking also, but a lot of exchange, and each one has to come prepared. So there's topics, there's on the table, and then we mix teams in those moments. So it's really interesting, it's really fun, and I think for the basers it's the thing that I prefer, because of course you are as a designer, you want to do good work on your own, and then you want to do good work with your team, and then you want to do good work with your team in your studio, and then when you feel there is something more, it's even more interesting. You could meet more people, you can exchange with more people. So that's the setup.
Wonderful. So you've created this almost ecosystem, right?
Exactly.
That's international and provides really this enriching experience for designers. So much space to grow. I think
what
feel
is
that.
key in this is that there are many design companies that are duplicating, copy-paste the studios. So no matter if you're Rio de Janeiro or you are in Paris, it's kind of the same thing. You have to do this way.
But
we're going
wouldn't
exactly,
that work?
no, and
Different
we were
cultures.
thinking this way at the beginning, and actually we realized that doesn't work, because
Yeah.
what we did was really flipping the system on its head and saying, no, you in Geneva, you make the most Swiss version of base. Don't follow a pattern. At the beginning, we're like, oh, you should do like in Brussels, or you should do like, and actually that doesn't work. People don't like that. They want to do their own thing, but they want to be part of something bigger. So it's interesting to see that we did the last time a very fun exercise is to see and the identity of each studio and how different we were from each other. And that makes the group stronger, obviously. So if you need a specific advice from some people from New York, it's going to be different from those from Brussels. And
Very
that's
much.
the nice thing.
Right. So most of the communications among the studios is happening remotely, I guess, right?
Yes,
and then
it's
you have
remote,
the get-togethers.
except from these specific moments where we gather. There's also this remote task force, like for example, business development. They're talking every week. Comms is internal and external comms. So that's a beautiful position. When I'm also leading with Julie at Comms and that team, is the fact that we know in real time what is happening in our studios, so we have a kind of a global vision of kind of a dispatching view that is also very interesting. But obviously also at group level, there's the board with that defines strategy for the group, and so we're really trying to make it like bottom up and top down in every sense, and be extremely adaptable. We don't want studios to become big boats with 50 people. That's not the way to go. The studios, like, we have a limit of 25, 30 people tops. We're not going to go bigger. And it's this combination of because we need absolutely to keep on being adaptable and flexible to the markets, to the situation. We all know how chaotic it is everywhere. So we don't want to have these big boats, big studio that needs a lot of budget and big clients. That's not our strategy. Strategy, we call it the small giant, and it's really this strategy of being extremely adaptable, locally yet global, and building that up like this. Actually, there's a pretty good news coming. There's a new studio that will join in October.
Where?
Yes, I cannot say.
You
yet.
cannot say. Okay.
Oh, it's a cool location. So it's gonna be.
Okay,
so we're
we'll
preparing
watch
that launch. Yes. Stay tuned.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah, we're looking forward to the location unveiling.
Yeah.
So you did touch upon that in this kind of these days. It's the market is really very unpredictable, right? Everywhere, and the economy is sort of up and down and a roller coaster. So how do you see, based on how brands are moving forward, right? What are the biggest challenges that they are dealing with at the current moment? And
I think the main challenge, they are in the same market as we are, so they're all confused. So we don't have to invent that. For example, we'd never tell a client, "Oh, we know exactly what the future of branding will be." We know, we don't know. So the question is to tell them that adaptability and how to be ready to change, maybe next year, maybe in 2 years, that is key for their brand. So what we're building with them is a strong foundation, and something that, for example, my partners in New York are calling a brand world. So a world for each brand that is, for each of our clients, that is clear, with its clear codes and values and things they believe, and from there be ready to adapt to any situation. So we don't do, for example, super hardcore guidelines. Oh, you set up for the next 5 to 10 years. That would be stupid. We don't tell that anymore. It was that before. I did that in the past, like guideline for 10 years. No, I will tell them, you're probably going to change in 1 year or 2. So what we're building for them needs to be ready for change, and we need to set them up for that attitude. So
love that.
Yeah.
So the lean approach, right?
Yes.
The lean
Yeah.
style
Totally.
approach.
So in that sense, we also coach the internal team, or helping them to do that, or setting up, for example, when we do a branding or a rebranding, like a follow-up to help them. Maybe that things that we decided in the rebranding, the first thing I say, some of it maybe will not work well. I can already tell you, because we need to test it in real time, which is design. We have an idea, we do it, we think it's great, and then we test it, and then oh shit, that doesn't work so well. So we're also telling that since day one on how to make that evolve. So for me, I'm less and less obsessed with guidelines and set up things that are ordered by rational and by, for example, a lot of branding before, like, you need to be consistent, use the same color all the time, use the same thing, and consistency will save you. I don't believe in that anymore. I don't believe in that. I even advocate sometimes that the strongest way to be a brand is to embrace change so much that maybe your logo is kept, and maybe one of two elements, which is that, but the rest has to change all the time.
Yes.
For example, it was crazy. We were reviewing a project we did for the opera in Brussels. We worked for them for 18 years. And for 18 years, we totally crushed the guideline each year. We were changing. And actually, the identity was super stronger because the attitude was the one of surprise, of believing in the artist. We didn't need like a guideline super strong to make the brand sustainable. That doesn't make it sustainable, just make it boring. Exactly. So I think that's the way to go. And of course, now with AI, there's this big question. Oh, what is going to happen to us? And the question is the same. It's like, just we're embracing the new tools. We made a specific task force at base with Mirek, which is our digital guru, is leading this task force, but not by saying you should be doing this and that inside base. It's just gathering people inside base who is interested in being in that task force to see how we're going to do it on an everyday basis and test it. We're going to do stuff in every dimension, whether it's administration, creation, image creation, copywriting, who wants to be in it. And so he has now a group, and we're just testing shit and see how we learn. Because again, nobody can say, I know, I understand everything. Nobody knows. So this is how also, if clients are asking us, what's up with AI? I'm just saying, well, we don't know, not way more than you, but this is what we're doing. So that's really reassuring for them. We're in it. Yes. You know?
You're transparent in that way, rather than pretending you're the guru.
No, we're not. No.
Right. So sounds like it's a very creative environment, very sort of experimental environment, right? Where people can try out different things, and I can imagine that therefore it's creative clients should be interested in this kind of way of working, right?
Yes. And it's funny because you would think that creative clients are coming from, like, for example, culture. No, not always true. Some people in culture are very narrow-minded, true. And some people you think in corporate are very boring and everything. No, sometimes they can be very creative and risk-taking and clever. So there's no rules actually. But it's our role also as leader at base to re-question. It's sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I think we don't take enough risk internally. Sometimes I think we play the little rules that works for another client and another thing, and we're replaying and that works, so why change? We need to be careful with that, because we're not that young company anymore. We exist since more than 35 years, and there's a big risk to become a bit,
stuck in the comfort zone.
We need to be we need to be alert and keep on challenging.
Right. But there's also a balance of all kind of, if you are I understand like the danger of being too stuck and outdated and irrelevant. But then sometimes if you change too often, that's also very kind of unstable for people. Then they don't know how to orientate and navigate them. So I guess there has to be some kind of balance sort of between the two, right? Changing, but also giving time to kind of integrate whatever the change brought you, right? Before doing another change.
Yeah, that's why there's some stupid things. Like, for example, when I see designers working and just being on Pinterest all day, for example, like, just get out of your screen, just move, go in the street. There's other ways, because then you're in a tunnel, right? So that's one thing. For example, you can also change the process of a job. You can put it on his head. Or a thing I like for example, you're thinking about a specific project and then you go towards a natural solution, right? A good way in that point is say, okay, now we do exactly the opposite. And that's always interesting, just you have some process and then you disrupt them suddenly. That's this we're gonna do with, as we always do. It happened also in the opera project, when we're suddenly, one of the designers said, you know what, we're gonna do everything with photocopy, and we're gonna do only black and white. With the simple fact that they stopped design with a computer and trashed the thing, and then use that to go back to the computer was fantastic. The results were beautiful. So this is something that design leaders in every studio, we have to challenge ourselves first, because we all fall into the day-to-day, this is how we design. But that's the role of the different leaders in the different studios to challenge them.
Yes, wonderful. I love that. I guess, yes, that's the sort of the other side of modern technology life, is that we are too much glued to computers, right? And in a way we lose touch of every other creative aspects that we have. So what you're saying, doing something away from computer then can even enrich
There's a simple thing you can do, like, for example, of course there's a computer, of course you're using it, so it's not a question, but the way, for example, people are stuck to their desk, you can challenge that. For example, at base, a lot of we people are moving. I don't have my desk in my own studio. Like I have sometimes say, no, I'm taking this place because, and you move. So okay. So, but also, for example, when we are on a job, of course there's a lot of things happening remote, but also some moments cannot be remote. You need to be in the same room. We're animals. We need to feel each other and to be in an interaction where we are in the same room. And also what we do a lot is when a team is on a project, they move their computer. They go in one room, for example, and then for 1 week they are in that specific room. The walls are covered with things. It's very normal to do that. But it's also very normal not to do that. And to just being alone and then you get to this nonsense of working in a team with someone that is 3 meters away and communicating by Slack and mails with that person. That's where it gets super nonsense.
Yes. So but I think people need sometimes somebody to make those waves in the room, like you say, somebody to come in and just reorganize, because it's a tendency of just getting stuck in your comfort zone.
Of course. All of us.
So
you
all of us,
too.
Exactly. I totally agree. It's you need to lift yourself up sometimes. So you already touched upon some of the qualities that, let's say, a designer should have these days, right? Yeah. Because if we would say, a designer 20 years ago needed a different skill set or different kind of adaptability level, right? To what a person today should have. Anything else that you would like to add?
Certainly. I think there's two things. There are skills. So this person has a beautiful portfolio, or has a touch on typography, or has a feel for beautiful art direction. And of course, this is essential. But I have to say that for us, what is extremely important is attitude. What is that? What is this? The attitude? How to explain that? How to? But all what we call the soft skills, right? And so it's for example, for me, I always prefer people that shows very early the desire to learn. That are not stuck about this I know, and no, people that want to learn. Oh, that's better. That's the second thing. Obviously, is the ability to work in a team. And some people are excellent, but are very weak in team environment. We won't probably take them. Because they have, or maybe they're stuck on ego question, or they like to work alone. I don't have anything against that. What I'm saying is that we don't have these kind of people at base, because everything is team related. So for example, what I would call emotional intelligence, and how the ability to dialogue, which I call in base, it's super important. Mutual adjustment. How do you all the time this person is telling me that I disagree with her or him. I think that how we will get to a solution that will put both of us in a better place with the project. Some people are unable to do that, and some people cannot really do that, but are eager to learn to do that. And this is what we do. So that's why we have such strong processes internally to help people to get into that thing. So it's true that I think new people, when they come at base, so we do a lot of interviews to feel if the fit seems right, but probably the first 1 or 2 weeks they would say, what is this? There's all these processes and meetings. For example, we have what we call the team meeting that start with a specific process called the inclusions. And this is a moment in the meeting where we're not talking about project. We're not talking about all these things. We're just talking, you have to tell how you feel to the whole team. And the whole team is not only creative, everyone, how you feel, what happened to you since the last time, and what do you expect from this meeting, and what will you bring to this meeting. And you have to be sincere. Well, for some people, when they are in this meeting for the first time, like, what is this? Is this a group therapy or a cult, or what is this? And so it's weird. But then I remember someone saying at the beginning, I was really like confused. And then after a month, I was like, this is the best moment. This is so important too. Because we see in those moments, because some people are saying, I'm having it, it's difficult for me, I'm stressed. It's the moment to let it out. And when you have that, you get help immediately. You don't have to organize help. Help will come to them immediately. So that's one of the examples of something we do at base, at every level of the company. We do that in studios, we do that in exco level, also at board level. So we start to see what's the mood. What is the mood? And sometimes the mood is not good. And you better know it. You better acknowledge. Sometimes these meetings are tough. And you see, shit, the mood of the team is low. So it's great information, and you have to address it. And that's okay to have a low mood. What is not okay is to not addressing people that are not good or stressed, or, I mean, you have to work on that.
You have to take care of health.
Another very important moment. That's for example, that meeting is happening every 2 weeks in Brussels, for example. And another thing that is every other week is the lunch. 3 people have to cook for the other.
That's nice.
They cannot go to the pizza place, or no, they have to go to grocery store. Then they have to think of a menu, and they're
That's
cooking.
lovely.
And you cannot imagine how strong this is. This is really good. It's
bonding.
Funny because some people are saying, you know what? Now the day I have to cook for the team, I'm more stressed than when I have to present to a client. Because now the quality of the food and
expectations.
Higher.
Love that. I've never heard about this way to kind of bring the team together. It's very homey, and can imagine it's very bonding.
Yeah, but it's also beyond nice and homey, it is impactful. It is really helping the company culture. It's helping you to address problems. It also helps each member to know each other better. So it's really important because we're spending days together. Full days. So
totally.
we cannot. It has to work. It has to, and that really helps us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was so packed full of wisdom on developing relationships with clients, with your team and organization, learning from each other, and really how important it is, right, to stay adaptive and creative and fast these days, right, without sort of projecting 10 years into the future, right? So these essential things that are really at the core probably of every company, not only design studio, right? It's at the core of a modern citizen these days.
Interestingly enough, I'm doing a talk about that only in design conference, where I think my third slide is like, I won't show any work today. I'm talking only about the fact that you can design a design company. You can shape it exactly through these processes, and I'm explaining all the mistakes we made and everything. But that talk, now I'm doing it not only in design companies, I'm doing that everywhere, to businesses, to things, because it works with basically human beings everywhere. Same thing.
Wonderful. So if you can design a company, you can design a life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Love that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.